The Volkswagen Taigo, sort of Volkswagen Polo's distant cousin. This is a small crossover, which, after the first sort of hour or two, I actually quite like it. And interestingly enough, despite the fact that it's a small car with a sloping roof design at the back, it still has a lot of equipment that much bigger cars, more expensive cars would have. For example, full LEDs at the front, full LEDs at the back, radar cruise control, DSG transmission, a digital instrument cluster, heated seats, and so on and so forth. A small car gets small engines, of course, like I always say. But it's kind of funny because you open the hood and you have to really look for it because it's so small. Of course, this one gets the 3-cylinder engines, 2 versions actually, something just under 100 horsepower and I think around 110 horsepower. But we will also be getting a 4-cylinder 1.5, I believe, which is going to have 150 horsepower, and that's only going to come with the 7-speed DSG transmission. But you can also get the DSG with these ones. Even though I admit I was a bit grumpy when I thought about yet another small crossover, the little Taigo did actually quite grow on me, as it looks great from practically any angle. I wasn't entirely sure about this sloping roof design before, but the more I look at it, the more I like it. It's difficult to explain, but I really like the general design of this car, especially these rear LEDs. I think they look fantastic, very sort of futuristic, very modern, cool. And for a car of this size, it actually has a pretty sizable trunk. We hadn't any problems putting our equipment in there, so yeah, it was another surprise. But of course, don't expect to be really moving house. The rear of the car is really something that made me pause and admire it, and I'm sure a lot of people on the road will think the same. The interior is decidedly Volkswagen. Things are nicely put together, there's lots of piano black plastics and capacitive control surfaces, but I applaud them for keeping the infotainment screen within the dashboard, instead of it growing out into the air like some kind of a statue. The models get a digital instrument cluster as standard, which allows you to customize displayed information. Thankfully, the steering wheel has kept the physical buttons, as I quite dislike the ones on the new generation. Since this is just a short preview, I didn't have time to do a proper test, but I can tell you a bit about my first impressions. The car drives quite comfortably and is responsive on the road. The tiny 81 kilowatt engine is enough for everyday drives, while the DSG surprised with a few rough shifts. Actually, this model reminds me of a miniaturized Q3. The base Taigo starts at 19,500 euros. For the fully loaded version with the most powerful engine and DSG transmission, you'll be paying just over 34,000 euros.